Hey everyone, it's Magnus, and today I wanted to actually show you guys my initial test that I did by filming with all three cameras, NX1, Canon 5D Mark IV, and the GH5. I wanted to just run a quick test on the three cameras and to see how closely I can match the shots using three completely different cameras. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this footage, quick shots that I filmed, and see if you can detect which camera was used for which shot. Here it is. There's that quick preview. Now, I edited a lot more and I tried to make it as film-like as possible. But again, it was just a test. I wrote a script, I shot it in like just a couple hours just to see what I can do with all the cameras. But now I'm going to give you the results of which camera was which and my pros and cons and what I learned from this quick shoot. Here it is.
Let's start with my experience with the Samsung NX1. The NX1 naturally sets a high contrast to most shots, so I customized my own picture profile to tone down contrast and saturation. I white balanced all three cameras together, but I knew the NX1 would probably be very different compared to the other cameras. It was convenient to leave the camera filming for a while with no fear of running out of memory card space, thanks to the H.265 codec, which is great for a longer shoot in 4K. In the shot with the serial, I attempted to get 120 frames per second slow-mo with all three cameras. Since it was a dark scene, it would really put low light and compressed footage to the test. Unfortunately, the footage from the NX1 was unusable, way too much noise. Then there's the shot in the bathroom. When color correcting in post to have all three cameras match as close as possible, it was obviously difficult to keep skin tones stable for most of this shot. The low bitrate and 420 codec just didn't work for this process. Next, let's go to the 5D Mark IV. I used the Technicolor CineStyle flat profile for a flatter look, and to make it easier to adjust colors in post. Most of the footage looked pretty good as I recorded, and I knew right off the bat that the footage would be easy to work with in post when compared to the NX1. Memory card storage, of course, is something that I always keep an eye on, thanks to the 500 megabits per second codec, though I used my 512GB SanDisk Extreme Pro SD card, so I at least had a couple of hours worth of space before I had to rotate memory cards. There was more than enough space, however, for this short movie. I did hit a snag with the camera in the bathroom scene. I only needed two cameras in that shot, but because it's a tight space, a flip-out screen would have worked wonders. Unfortunately, without this ability, I chose not to use it for this shot. At least the NX1 has a tiltable screen, which came in handy. When filming in slow-mo footage, it stinks that for 120 frames per second, I had to stick to 720p and manual focus. However, even with this setting, thanks to the full frame sensor and excellent light gathering capability of the lens, I was able to get a fully usable shot for this scene. And finally, we have the GH5. I used the Cinelite D profile and severely turned down contrast and saturation to come as close to the CineStyle profile from the Canon as I could. Looking at the footage, it really didn't come too close, but it came much closer than the NX1. Filming with this camera was a breeze from a memory card perspective. It's got a much more efficient codec than the 5D Mark IV, though not quite as efficient as the NX1. Talking about slow-mo footage, just look at it. I shot it at 120 frames per second, though the camera can do up to 180 frames per second in 1080p. I knew the smaller sensor size mixed with the lens that I was using, which was set at 3.5, would have the footage suffer. If I had used my speed booster and one of my Canon lenses, I'm 100% positive that this shot could have been 100 times better. But given the short amount of time I used to shoot all of this, I didn't want to have to switch lenses, especially when I had a perfectly usable shot with the 5D. GH5 does amazing slow motion in a better lit situation. But hey, this type of situation can happen out on the field too. When shooting the bathroom scene, the GH5 was the easiest camera to use in a tight space, thanks to the flip out screen, and I was able to recover the colors a bit better on this camera compared to the NX1. In post, I created custom LUTs for the NX1 and the GH5 footage to have them come closer to the flatter profile of the 5D. After applying that, then color correcting all shots similarly to see how it would affect the footage, I had my final look. In other words, I really pushed it. After working with this footage, I realized one thing. I need Vlog, and made sure to order and install it as soon as possible. That's what these tests are for, to learn.
There you go. I ended up to get Vlog, and I will get C-Log when it comes out for the Canon 5D Mark IV, which will allow me more flexibility when editing in post. But let me know what you guys think and how you guys would edit in post, or any comments or questions, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, you can like and share and make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later.